yesterday we were on Stockton, and we looking for some crappie in their spring transition. And we run onto our extremely clear water. The sun came out on us and got extremely still, and we had a lot of trouble staying on fish. So today we've joined Gary here, and we're at Truman Lake. And if you look at this water, you can tell that we're not going to be fighting the clear water problem, at least today. So what we're doing the same thing. We're going to start out, we've just started. We're going to look at different areas, different depths up here in one of the creeks. And we're going to jig around some of these stumps, and we're going to keep working along and see what we can find. I want to give you a little tip. A lot of times you're going to hear the guys talking about spider rigging, and it's becoming really popular. But there's a lot of old-fashioned fishermen like me that likes to feel that bite. But I've got another thing that you can do that I've done, that we're doing today, is we've been talking to some of our friends up here and been watching the spider riggers around us, and they're working and they're catching their fish probably no more than 3 foot down. And we're not in very deep water, but it seems like if you get under them too far, you don't get bit. So what you can do is just what we're getting ready to do here, is we're going to take and we're going to set us a bobber, approximately 2 foot deep, and we're going to do the same thing. And one of the things I like about this, you'll hear more and more of the spider riggers saying they keep getting longer and longer rods to stick out there away from the boat so that the boat doesn't spook the fish when they're in shallow water. Well, with a rig like this, you're only limited to as far as you can cast. And you can work it as slow or as fast as you need to. And you don't have to worry about having 8 to 10 to 12 rods sticking out the boat. You can put one rod in your hand, cast around your structure or out in open water if the fish are in shad. And we've proven today, and we're still fishing, that we're catching probably close to just as many fish as the guys that are going around us with 6 to 8 rods out. And we're using one at a time. So that's another little tip that you can do. Don't be afraid to try it. Experiment with your colors. They're using live bait. They're fishing with minnows. We're using artificial bait, Mike's Custom Jigs. So grab you an outlaw pole, get you some Mike's Custom Jigs, and when you hear the spider riggers are catching their fish 2 to say 8, 10, 12 foot deep even, you can always set up slip bobbers and get out there and do the same thing. It's a good alternative if you don't want a spider rig. Big boy. Well, they're not running too big yet. Had one bigger one get off a while ago, brushed him up against the stump and knocked him loose. But there's a black crappie on a Mike's Custom Jig in smoked cheese, and set about 20 inches deep, 18 to 20 inches. The spinner adds a little bit of flash to that jig. When I barely move that jig in this shallow water and in this dirty water, it'll give it a little flash, and they're in here feeding on small bait fish is what they're doing, because this water is warming up faster back here in this deep muddy or shallow muddy water. Like that too. I just think I want big enough. Put a smaller jig on, silly. Silly Mr. Gary.
Like I said, I did have anyway.
Water has had some time to warm up today. Fish get a little more active, they'll move a little more. I took the bobber off now, and I'm just pitching out, and we're setting in about 6 foot of water. And I'm just pitching it out and pulling it back slowly, close to stumps if I can. And now that's starting to work with the water warming up this afternoon.
Don't get much better than that. Smoked cheese.
Smoked cheese strikes again.